I think the most that stands out in my mind is the fear that pervaded our household, and I have a hard time talking about it even after all this time without crying. It devastated the community and the church and Mom and Dad. As the oldest, I'll never forget that, them coming home and telling Becky and I don't know where the rest of the kids were, but all I know is I remember exactly where we were when they came in the house and told us that they had found them, but they were no longer here on earth. Fear gripped the household, obviously. Even though you have Jesus, that's amazing how fear can come in. And I remember all the policemen and the sheriffs sitting around our dining room table all the time, and my parents having to talk to wackos, crazy people. It was a hard time.
I remember a lot of fear. I don't remember, being told. I just remember being told afterwards, and just a lot of fear.
The fear in our household was pretty pervasive. It was pretty heavy, and you could feel it. Even as young as Eunice was, she knew there was fear, and Mary, she knew there was fear. And none of us were that old, but Debbie and I were obviously the oldest, but still that fear was pretty heavy, and you could feel it. It was like how you can say that you can go into a room and you can cut the tension with a knife blade. Sometimes I felt you could take that fear and it was like just heavy.
The door was locked at the bottom of the stairway to come upstairs where we all slept, and Dad again had loaded guns, and they'd warned us not to come and surprise him. But I remember one night I was really scared, and I walked into the bed and I stood right at the edge in silence and just stood there. And the next thing I know is Mom and Dad jumped right up, and Dad grabbed for the gun, and I think that was when he said that was enough. And then things started to change.
Just like you can feel the fear, we could feel the excitement and the happiness.
And that's how they taught us. Live for Jesus, but live for Jesus with joy in our hearts, joy in everything. And I think that's why it was so unusual to have that fear, because that was not our way of living, because Jesus was everything to us, and that's how we were raised. And after all these years, we are still serving Him. Everything we do when we serve Him is where God wants us to be. And who knows why that happened, a double murder of my parents' really good friends, especially my mom. And I think another thing that made it so devastating to Mom was the fact that she was a missionary's daughter. And so it was a confidant to Mom and somebody she could confide in. And who knows why God chose us. But, except for the sad part, I sort of feel privileged God chose us to go through it. Especially to tell the story that something good came out of it. God healed Mom of that fear, and God protected us during that whole time. We have always remained a family, and a very close family, and God has totally been in our lives, and it's just, this has come to fruition, and that's just awesome.
There's not enough Christian movies out there. So I think that was the big thing that Dad had and Mom had, is that they wanted to be able to have a Christian movie that was acceptable for so many people to watch as a family, and give honor to God also at the same time.
I think God gives us dreams, and Mom and Dad obviously had a dream. I think what's so special about it, she's not young anymore, but it doesn't matter the age. When you have a dream, God can still help you fulfill that dream.
We're very excited that this movie is happening finally, and we're just praying that it will bless people's lives in phenomenal ways, because that was my dad's dream, and he's obviously in heaven, but it's our mom's dream, and it really is ours that would happen.